Salvatore Giunta is on with us. Good morning, my man. How are you?
I'm doing well, Grover. How about yourself?
It's Rover, not Grover, but that's all right. I'm doing good. You have a book out. It's Living with Honor. It's a memoir, and this describes, I'm sure, this entire incident, which happened back. What year did this happen?
It was October 25th, 2007.
And just sort of so we can get a baseline story, you're in Afghanistan. What exactly happened? You were ambushed. What happened exactly?
I was serving with the 173rd Airborne Infantry out of Vicenza, Italy, and we were on a 15-month deployment to Afghanistan. And October 25th really was like every other day. I mean, we do the same thing every day, and when we fight, it's only because they decided they were going to shoot at us.
Mm-hmm.
That night was only a little different because of the proximity of the enemy. There was about 10 to 20 enemy fighters, roughly just about 25 yards to 35 yards away from us, so insanely close. They were behind cover and concealment, and we were in the open. They ambushed us in a very textbook fashion, and something you can find in your military manuals, in a near L-shaped ambush, which is basically allows them to shoot all of us at the same exact time. So within the first couple seconds, the ambushees should be wiped out. That night, that did not happen because of all the men that I served with. In the infantry, it's only men, so I say men, but there is men and women serving this great country. That night, I was in charge of two guys, and within the first couple seconds, I think everyone got shot at least once somewhere. But due to the advancements in technology and our body armor, the body armor stops the bullet, no harm, no foul, and we're looking at a life or death situation, so everyone has to do their job. That night, the only reason that I wear the medal is because the men that were with me that night did absolutely everything they could to keep me safe. In combat, we don't look out for ourselves. We look out for the person to the left and to the right. That night, Casey was shooting a M249, which shoots 900 rounds per minute at a cyclic rate. He looked like a dragon blowing fire. He made himself the biggest target so I could move. Casey was doing that while Clary was shooting 203s. Gallardo my squad leader, was shot once in the helmet, but even being shot in the helmet, which had to feel like getting hit in the head with a baseball bat, he's a professional soldier. He knew exactly what needed to happen, and we would die there without clear and concise guidance.
Did you take any hits to your body armor?
I was hit once in like the lower abdomen area, and then I also carried a rocket launcher over my back, and that was shot. But me personally, no skin was broken.
What are these guys shooting at you with AK-47s?
AK-47s, PKMs, RPKs, RPGs, rocket launchers, and machine guns, essentially.
Holy moly.
They're shooting guns that can shoot, depending upon how fast they are at reloading, which this was a professional setup. They're shooting anywhere between probably 100 to 500 rounds per minute, and there's 10 to 20 of them, so you can imagine the amount of bullets in the air.
Thousands of bullets flying through. I mean, it's amazing that anyone was even able to survive from that at all. And so then after, these guys, you guys are able to eventually sort of fight these guys back to some extent, and they begin to retreat, but you realize that they're dragging one of your guys with them, right?
They were. That wasn't realized until when Gallardo said grenades, we threw grenades and moved forward, and we came up upon Ekrod. Ekrod was shot twice in his leg and twice in his chest. And it was just Gallardo and I running at that time, and Gallardo peeled off to help Ekrod, and I just kept on running. I was going to go fight next to Brennan, who I'd already spent a year and a half in Afghanistan with. We'd been buddies for the last 4 years. And when I got to where I thought he would be, I couldn't find him. And that seemed strange to me, but in a near ambush situation, really the final answer is going to be to charge the ambush line. And hopefully you break through the ambush line and you shoot more of them than they shoot of you, and we can end this day with as little of our casualties as possible. And I thought that's what Brennan had done. So when I ran forward not to do that alone, but I ran forward to do that with Brennan. Mm-hmm. And when I ran forward, I saw two guys carrying away one, and I didn't understand who beat me up here and why they were running the wrong way, and everything was very chaotic. There's explosions and bullets and machine gun fire, and we have two helicopters overhead. I mean, it was a very chaotic situation. And then once my mind finally actually realized what my eyes were seeing, I did what we do. I eliminated the threat. I killed the enemy, and I grabbed my buddy, and I turned around and ran back the direction that I came. We were in a situation where anyone could shoot us, and it wouldn't be anyone's fault. I mean, it's the chaos of combat that we were in, and as I dragged Britton back, the other guys were catching up, pulling security. They were still under intense fire. They're still receiving thousands of rounds a minute. And at that point in time, no one was shooting at me simply because they were drawing all the fire. I mean, this really is a true team effort. As terrible as it sounds, and as much as I tell a one guy's story, it's not a one guy story, because everyone's piece of that puzzle was meaningful to the exact purpose of getting the mission complete.
I mean, that must weigh on you, Salvatore, who is he's a Medal of Honor recipient. That must weigh on you that you were singled out. Everyone goes, "Oh my God, you got the Medal of Honor! How great!" But does it weigh on you to some extent that you were singled out and you were the recipient of this award? And yes, you chased after, but that was only a small part, not to minimize what you did, but that was a small part of, like you said, a machine that you guys were, basically.
Absolutely, Rover. Our military today is filled with professional soldiers. They don't have side jobs. This is what they do. They're true professional gunslingers, finance clerks. I mean, we're a military of professionals. And I think the first probably year after receiving the medal, I still really struggled with wearing it and being singled out, because two of my good buddies died that night on the mountain. 3 others sustained life-altering injuries. And yet here I am with all my fingers and all my toes, and my mind's still good, and people want to congratulate me for what the team did, and that's never how it should be, I don't think.
How do the other guys that were there with you that night, how have they responded? You have a book out, Living with Honor, a memoir. How have they responded to the attention that you've gotten and the award that you've gotten since that night?
I think they're always going to bust my chops. They're my buddies. That's what they do. But I think my reason for writing the book is just to highlight the men and women in uniform and those around me. My service has been validated, but there are so many men and women that do incredible things that haven't had their service validated after 11 years of combat, because every day is the same as the day before, and every year was the same as the year before. But, I think for them, it's been pretty cool. I've been able to take them and do some stuff with them and show them the bigger picture, because as infantrymen, we deal with such a small piece of the Army. We only deal with other men. Mm-hmm. We only deal with walking on the ground, and we only deal with guns. We're not trying to learn how to do mathematical equations. We're not trying to learn how to write and complete sentences. We are solely learning how to shoot our gun better than someone else and take care of our fellow man. And that the way that our experiences in combat have bound us together, they're just as much of this Medal of Honor as I am. And that's not even the people that were on the mountain with me that night, not just the people that died that night, but all the men and women in the military that have been fighting the good fight for years now. I mean, the medal represents them. I'm just a placeholder for it. I wear it around my neck because it's meant to be worn around the neck, and it only has space for one neck hole. I mean, I wear it for them. That's what it's about.
Salvatore Giunta is on with us. He has a book out, Living with Honor, a memoir. He is a Medal of Honor recipient. You grew up in where? Iowa, I think?
I did, yes, sir.
What?
In Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
What motivated you to join the military?
I wasn't really motivated to join the military until about 10 days before I joined the military, I think. I went into the recruiting station because they said you come in and see a recruiter and you get a free T-shirt. And I was 18 years old. I was getting ready to graduate high school. I figured, hey, of course I want a free T-shirt. It says Army on it. That's cool. And I went in, and the recruiter told me something very simple. It was 2003 at the time, and he said, hey, we're a country at war. We've been in Afghanistan since 2001. We've been in Iraq since March 26, 2003. If you want to make a tangible difference and you want to serve your country and do something about this, join the Army. And I thought, well, that's a really good speech, guy, but, I came for the T-shirt. And I took my T-shirt and I left. But over the course of the next couple of days, what he said was, it's the truth. He wasn't trying to persuade me to do something. He was just telling me how it was. And I thought, I can do this. I would be proud. it would make me proud to serve my country. And so I did. That's why I joined. And I didn't know you could actually join for different jobs. I joined, and they asked me what I like to do, and I told them, I think camping sounds fun, and shooting guns and jumping out of planes and spitting and swearing. That's the kind of stuff I'm into. And they said, hey, we got the perfect job for
you. I'll tell you something. People look at what Salvatore Giunta did that night on the mountain, and they go, what a hero he was. I'm telling you, the story he just told about joining the military, that's where it starts, because anyone who can do that, I'll tell you with all honesty that right now I wouldn't have the balls to even join, because I am a tremendous pussy, basically. I mean, and I say that not to, I really, you have no idea how difficult that must be to join the military and to put yourself in harm's way, to make a conscious decision to do that. I couldn't do it. People have asked me, they go, would you ever, would you serve in the military? And it's not because I wouldn't want to. It's that I know that when they land that helicopter over in Afghanistan for the very first time, or that plane, and they go get off, I'd start crying for my mommy. I'm not even joking. When you got into the military, was it what you expected it was going to be?
It really wasn't. I didn't have any expectations. Really, when I joined, I heard that jumping out of planes, being airborne, was going to pay me $150 extra bucks a month, and I thought I was the smartest man in the world for choosing that. And I thought I was going to just go fight the bad guys and come back and kiss pretty girls and drink beers. And the military taught me so much more than just fighting. I think responsibility and care and compassion for your fellow man. I would not be where I am in this world without the lessons that I've learned in the military. Some were easy lessons and some were learned very hard, but the military has made me the man I am today, and not a combatant, not a fighter, not a warrior, but as a good, honest human being.
You obviously were in a position where you're ambushed. Guys are trying to shoot at you and kill you, and they killed members of your team, and you killed some of them. Obviously, you had to do it, but how does that affect someone knowing that you took another person's life?
I think it affects everyone differently, Rover. I've seen people struggle with it, and I've seen people almost get giddy about it. I think it's about the validation of, did you do the right thing? Was the right decision made? When you really ultimately were asking 18 and 19-year-olds to play judge, jury, and executioner, mm-hmm. and then we're the ones that get to sit back and look at hindsight and see it at 2020 and then say they made the wrong choice. Everyone deals with it differently. For me personally, I have lost 26 of my good buddies in the country of Afghanistan, and I knew exactly why I went to Afghanistan, and I have no problem in doing what has to be done. For me, I'm very fortunate. Maybe I'm not smart enough to have troubles with figuring it out in my mind, because it's very cut and dry for me, but there are a lot of good people that will struggle with it, do struggle with it, and will probably continue to struggle with it for the rest of their lives. I don't know what causes one person to struggle with it and another not to.
What about the Afghani people? Obviously, the guys, the Taliban people, and these insurgents are bad guys. But are there any? I mean, the general population in Afghanistan. What did you experience from them? Were they? Did they not like Americans? Did they not like us being there? Were they receptive to you? Were they? Did anyone seem to understand? We look at it from over here and we go, "Hey, we're just trying to help these guys out. What's their problem?" But what did you experience with them?
I got to put the disclaimer out first of. Because of my position in my job, my opinion is very jaded. Afghanistan is a huge country, and I've spent very little. I've spent 27 months in the country, but I've probably spent it only in the total of maybe 25 square miles. So I haven't seen the whole country. I've only seen bits and pieces in real small pockets. And the reason why we go to those small pockets is because that's where the bad guys hang out, and our job is to eliminate the bad guys. So my opinion is jaded simply because my job takes me where the dirt balls hang out.
Right.
And I think, and from my opinion, the same people we give rice and beans to on Monday are going to shoot at us on Tuesday. They graciously greet us with a warm smile when we're giving them things, and they'll shoot us in the back the second we aren't. But that's only my opinion, and that, like I said, is jaded because of where I've been and what I've been doing. There's good people all around the world. There's people that are trying to improve their situation, their family situation, and there's people that are trying to completely destroy the world. I don't know what to tell you on that. They're all shapes and sizes.
What did you talk about any of the conversations you had with President Obama? What did he tell you? I mean, he gave you the Medal of Honor, but did he have any words for you? What did you two discuss?
That the day that I met the president, I was nervous. It's one thing to go into combat with your buddies and guns and know what you're going against, and it's another thing to go to Washington, D.C. and be around politicians and congressmen and the President of the United States and have no idea what to expect. When my wife and I had one-on-one time with the President and the First Lady in the Oval Office, and he was incredibly generous. It made one of the most stressful situations of ever meeting someone, he made it completely fine. My wife and I sat down, and I think we had some coffee with the President and the First Lady, and we just kind of talked about whatever. We didn't talk about everything that was about to happen or has happened or is on the cusp of happening. We just talked about life and how happy we are to be where we are.
Well, it kind of shows you that these politicians, all of the bickering that they do up there in Washington about the economy, about the wars, about policy, and this kind of stuff, that guys like Salvatore Giunta are out there putting their lives on the line, and women too, as he mentioned. And some of these arguments and this bickering and the name calling that we have up there in Washington is all nonsense when you consider that there are guys like him that are out there, 20 feet away from some guy shooting a friggin' machine gun at him. What do you want to do in your future? Have you thought about, or what do you want to do with the rest of your life?
That's a really good question. Right now, I've been out of the Army for a year and a half, and I've been speaking for the Washington Speakers Bureau, and I also go around and I talk to boys and girls clubs about teamwork, leadership, service, sacrifice, and patriotism. I think these are very easy core values that we used to teach, and we don't hear them as much as we used to. And if the medal around my neck helps people listen to my voice, then that's what I want to talk about. Past that, the writing the book, Living with Honor, was a big step for me. But honestly, now I'm about to turn 28, and Uncle Sam said because of the GI Bill that's offered to our men and women in uniform, they'll pay for 100% of our tuition to a state school. So I'm planning on attending Colorado State here in the fall. I'll be a 28-year-old freshman, but it'll be free knowledge, so I'm excited.
And what are you going to study? Have you made a decision yet?
I've been tossing that around, and I'm kind of leaning maybe more towards a business degree simply because I don't know what I want to do. I do understand that knowledge is power, and I would like some knowledge, and free knowledge is good. But I don't know, and I'm afraid to keep on waiting before I go back to school. I mean, life is really good, and opportunities are coming fast, but I really do believe school should be next. I just wish someone would really help me say, hey, Sal, this is exactly what you should study because you're going to love this.
No light bulb has gone off for you yet that says, hey, I was telling Kevin Nealon was here in the studio with us earlier today, and he was telling kind of a story, before he got into acting and comedy and that kind of stuff. And he goes, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I told him, I said, I'm the exact opposite. From the age of 8, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to do radio, and Salvatore is now. I assume that it's also somewhat difficult to struggle coming back from a war zone and getting acclimated to everyday life back here in the United States of America. That must even be, throw you off to some extent.
Oh, absolutely. I actually spent 7 years overseas. I was stationed over in Vicenza, Italy, was my duty station. So when I deployed to Afghanistan, I deployed from Italy. And when I came back from Afghanistan, I came back to Italy. I never came back to the United States. So just moving back to the States last year for my wife and I, who I met over in Italy back in 2004, I mean, this has been a huge life-changing experience just to come back to the country we were born in.
And the amazing thing about this, before I let Salvatore Giunta go, who's a Medal of Honor recipient, the amazing thing about the story that you just told and this book that you have, Living with Honor, and one of the things that I think is extremely sad is that here in the United States of America, guys like me and most people can just go about living our everyday lives and have been doing so for the past 10 or 12 years. And it's so easy to almost tune out what is happening over in Afghanistan and prior when we were over in Iraq and whatnot. That it's been so easy for us to continue going on, living as if nothing is going on. And then you talk to a guy like Salvatore who's people are dying in his arms and he's getting shot at. And I think it's too easy for us to ignore. It's unlike, what I obviously wasn't alive during World War II, but I think it's very unlike that time where the whole nation rallied and we're so into friggin' Facebook and tweeting and seeing stupid kitten pictures and stuff and watching the Jersey Shore that we don't even realize some of the sacrifices that these people are making, which I think is unfortunate, Salvatore.
I do as well, Rover, and I do my best to remind the American people we're so privileged just to be born in America or be American citizens and receive these rights and these privileges that the majority of the world doesn't, and we receive them freely. But they don't come freely. They come through hard work and blood, sweat, and tears of men and women of this country currently and in the past, and this country will continue to ask for blood, sweat, and tears of its citizens to keep it the greatest country in the world. And it's not an easy task.
Salvatore Giunta, like I mentioned, his book, Living with Honor, a memoir. It's available in stores right now. Pick this up. It's an incredible story. And I think I speak for everyone. That, in fact, I have a lot of people on the phone who want to say this to you, but I'll just save them all the time. But there's a lot of people that want to thank you for your service and say that children should look up to you. And I think I speak for everyone when I say that. And I appreciate it. Good luck with this book. Good luck with finding out what you want to do with the rest of your life and with school. And thank you so much for coming on, my man.
I appreciate it, sir. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Salvatore Giunta.